Yes, sir. As requested, it's full of bugs, which means people will be forced to upgrade for years. Oh, dear me. I'm terribly sorry. The newly facelifted MG ZS Automatic. We didn't like the manual so much, we tested it on the channel in the summer, but is this version with the automatic gearbox any better? Should you care? Why? Let's find out, shall we? MG, let's go.
Here we are with anchors tying us to what we'll call home, even if the sight of it has not yet touched our eyes. And here we are and we're together, even if we are apart. And we're together when we're together, something big is happening among us. It's not as if we don't have to deal with our shortcomings. It's not as if we don't have to wipe away.
So welcome to yet another episode of Tweed Jacket Reviews. And Dudley in the West Midlands. This is becoming something of a tradition. This is a 2020 MG ZS 1 litre TGI Exclusive Automatic. This particular car retails for just over £20,000 with this dynamic tri-coat paint colour. And as usual, it's been supplied to us by John Newey at the team at Summit Garage in Dudley. So thanks, Summit Garage. Thumb it. Before I get into more detail about this newly facelifted MG ZS Automatic, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel, to like this video and leave a comment below. It really helps us out and enables us to spread the love of tweed jackets all over the internet. So the MG ZS Automatic, or the SUV version of this car, back in the autumn we actually covered the first MG ZS, which was actually a different type of car entirely. It was based on the Rover 45, and the ZS 180 that we tested was absolutely fantastic, but it's really a different type of car. There's nothing in common between these two. So the automatic one in this market was released in 2018. There is also a manual version which we tested on the channel back in July, a 1.5 litre engine. This is a 1 litre engine that was co-developed between General Motors and SAIC, who are MG's parent company these days. It's a 3-cylinder unit and it develops 111 horsepower. It is turbocharged. And in this car it's coupled to a very smooth shifting twin clutch automatic transmission. I really wish they would put this engine into the manual ZS. It's so much better, we've got so much more torque. The power figures aren't actually that different. The 1.5 manual 4-cylinder develops 105 horsepower, and actually it's slightly quicker. It's about 11 seconds to 60, this is 12.7. But there's so much more torque in this engine that it's just night and day driving the manual and the automatic. And when we did the 1.5 manual facelifted ZS back in July, I remembered driving the pre-facelift version of this car, which I did on the channel back in September 2019, and it's so much nicer to drive. It makes you kind of wonder about the big questions of life. Will they ever put the new 1.3 engine into the facelifted ZS? Will Alfa Romeo actually continue to survive as a manufacturer? And are they ever going to build that branch of Lidl on the A240 at the Auckland Crossroads in Ewell? Such questions we don't quite know the answer to, but never mind. So there are two trim levels available on the MG ZS. The pre-facelift cars had 3. The Explore trim didn't even have air conditioning, so they didn't really sell many of those ones, particularly as most of these cars are bought on finance anyway. So they'd have just simplified the range to Excite and Exclusive. I would recommend the Exclusive. I very much like this leather interior. We've got a 360-degree camera, which actually even helps you go around corners. If you signal on that and you go around a corner, it'll actually show you blind spots and things like that, which is absolutely remarkable. Also, we've got this Artico leather interior, we've got heated seats, we've got air conditioning, we've got MG's iGo sat nav that I'm actually using right now, although the guidance isn't on, and it is just a really well equipped car for the price. It has risen a little bit over the pre-facelift car that retailed for about, with this sort of spec, about £18,500, but you just get so much more equipment for money. We've got blind spot monitoring as well, we've got adaptive cruise control, we've got pedestrian detection, bicycle detection, bigger touchscreen, digital instruments. You know, we'll go into a bit more of this in the static section of the review, but it's just a remarkably well equipped car. Nearest rival to this would be something like a Cinematography that's also been recently facelifted for 2020, and we covered that on the channel back sort of August, September time, if you want to have a look at that, and links in the description below. So I've also covered the ZSEV on the channel too, and that's a fantastic car, but some people don't want to pay the extra, say, £3,000–4,000 to get one of those over what it costs for something like this, and they prefer the petrol car. I'm maybe one of those sort of people. I would probably prefer a plug-in hybrid next or something, but this is really, really good. It's very smooth over these bumps. It's also just got the power up these hills. There are quite a few hills in Dudley, as I said before, and it's just got the power to get up the hills that the manual version just simply doesn't have. The steering is a bit artificial. It is an electric system, and like on a Tivoli, and as I've said many times on these ZS reviews that I've done, there are 3 modes. There is urban and normal and dynamic, and I always put the steering into dynamic mode when I'm driving a petrol ZS, because the other 2 modes are just too light. This has at least some sort of feel to it. It is artificial feel, but it does have some feel to it. The driving position is very comfortable. The only thing you don't get actually is reach adjustment of the steering, which I think is a shame, because, you know, the Tivoli, which is the biggest competitor for this car, does have that. Visibility is pretty good for one of these cars. That 360-degree camera does work. There is a reversing camera too, and parking sensors. You can't actually get front parking sensors on this car as a standard. That is a dealer fit option, but I'm sure that you know, the local MG dealer would help out with that. One thing just to bear in mind as well, this car doesn't have tinted glass. There's no tinting on the glass at all, which is very unusual. I don't know why MG don't tint their glass, but that's just something to bear in mind, and if you wish to tint your own glass, I'm sure that you can do that as well. Other rivals to this car would be popular things like the Nissan Duke, the Renault Captur, the Skoda Kamiq. All these cars cost more money when comparatively equipped. The one problem with this car though is probably the fuel economy. Now, the official figures say about 40 miles per gallon, but having had a pre-facelift one of these on loan from MG Motor UK last year, and obviously I will put all the links to the episodes of Tweed Jacket reviews on the ZS we've done. This is now, just think about this. This is the 5th one we've done, so there's a lot of them, and that over the course of about a week that I had the car, or 8 days, that actually produced about 41 miles per gallon. I'd expect this to be similar. The engine, I think, is slightly tweaked for emission standards, but it's really not that different. Overall, I'm always very impressed with these MG ZSs. They offer fantastic value for money. They're very easy to drive. They don't quite have the sporting character that MGs of old used to have. Really, the only car on the market at the moment, apart from the rather expensive MGHS plug-in hybrid that has the sporting character is the MG3, which, you know, we've covered extensively on the channel, and as I always say in every modern MG review we do now, we had a 2014 MG3 1.5 style for about 3 years, my lady wife and I, and that's one of the first cars ever to appear on this channel. So you know, we are fans of the brand and everything. Right, I think it's time for us to go over to our next filming location and have a look at the more practical side of this car.
Here we are with anchors tying us to what we'll call home, even if the sight of it has not yet touched our eyes. But here we are and
This automatic MG ZS really is infinitesimally better than the manual version. Anyway, let's take a look, as always, at this car's more practical side and take a look in the boot. Taking in the fact that we now have chrome strips on the tops of the door handles, and also we have these lovely new alloy wheels with thicker tyres than before, which makes the car look a bit better. If we go around to the boot and we use the familiar MG Auction badge to open it up, got new styling at the back of this car as well, and LED brake lights. This particular car, as it's a demonstrator, has a nice load bed liner, which is rather smart. Lift up the boot floor here. This is an adjustable floor. This is in the low position. There is actually a tyre repair kit in there, but you can get a space saver spare wheel as an option. With the boot floor in its down position like this, the volume is 448 litres, but it's the same as on the pre-facelift petrol ZS and on the ZS EV. One thing I would say about the boot, as I always say, there aren't any hooks in here. There is a boot light, but there's no 12-volt socket. It's quite simple, but you know, this is a car really for simple, straightforward people. Getting into the car is really easy. Doors open quite wide. The windows aren't particularly tall, but there's still a fair amount of light in here. You don't get the panoramic roof though that you would get on the ZS Exclusive. Also in this car there's no centre armrest. There are, however, for the facelift, 2 USB ports down here, and we've also got a lidded cubby in the middle with an armrest that a lot of drivers were asking for. Got matte pockets at the back of either seat, and also this newly introduced red stitching on these Article leather seats, which reminds me of a pre-facelift MG3, and it's very comfortable in here. There's absolutely loads and loads of headroom. There's loads and loads of knee room, and I'm 5'11", so even people well over 6 foot tall will be absolutely happy in the back of here. One thing to bear in mind though, we do have some of this interesting material on here, but it is sort of hard plastics on the door tops and around here, but that's generally what you'd expect from a car in this class anyway. One of the things about buying a car like the ZS is that it's very easy to get in and out, and there's a lot of space in here for the driver and the front passenger. This seat actually moves electrically, which is rather nice. It's also heated. Driving position is very good, apart from the lack of adjustment on the steering wheel. Now, I've never found this to be a problem in any ZS I've tested, but you know, it could be something that you need to go and look at the car in person just to make sure it's okay for you. These front seats now come with embossed MG logos, which is rather nice. This kind of weird material on the dash that is soft touch. I think that's supposed to be fake carbon fibre, I'm not exactly sure. Soft touch material on top of the dashboard does remain, although just like in the rear there are hard plastics at the top. Mind you, it looks absolutely fine, it looks very durable, which is very good. One thing I've always liked is these air vents on the left and the right hand side of the dashboard, which do remind me of a certain German premium manufacturer, but I couldn't possibly say which one it is for fear of being sued. The steering wheel is very similar as well to the pre-facelift cars, but of course it's now got the red stitching, which I just think is a really lovely touch. The automatic gearbox in this car also means that we have a change from the manual ZS for facelift exclusive, in that there's an automatic handbrake in this car. I'm not massively fond of automatic handbrakes, but it's okay. We've also got 2 cup holders here where the manual handbrake sort of would have been. There are different driving modes with this automatic gearbox. There is a sport mode, just got like a manual mode, and also just normal, which is what I just tend to leave it in really. In the middle here we've now got a cubby space underneath the much requested armrest. And in the front of here we haven't just got 1 USB port, we've actually got 2, so the car's got a total of 4 USB ports. This centre screen is completely different, and if I just turn the car on, just turn that wind level down a bit. I don't know why it's called wind level. That's possibly when Mr. Franks and I have been for too many curries, the wind level increases. So the piano keys here are very similar to an MGHS. They are a little bit easier to use, though, because you've got separate controls for the fan speed and the temperature, which is a very good system indeed. Also on here there is a button to turn off the thing entirely. Just make sure we turn that off. Sean thought it's wonderful, but we don't have any copyright claims on this channel. Digital instruments, unlike the pre-facelift car, which were entirely analog, and a much bigger touch screen here. It's a 10.1 inch screen, similar to on an HS. This particular car, because it's an exclusive, has the MG's iGo sat-nav system, which I've actually been using today, and it's been absolutely fine. Although most people, to be honest, would prefer to use Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, which is also now standard. Android Auto was not available as standard on the facelift, the pre-facelift petrol cars. Also, of course, a 360-degree view camera here, and there's actually a dedicated button for turning that on and off down here. And you can have it, if you want, in 2D and 3D formats. We can cycle around the cameras using this control here, and standard reversing camera and parking sensors too. One thing as well, because this is a facelifted car, it has full LED headlamps, which look rather smart. Right, secret mission documents did not fit in the glove box of the pre-facelift ZS Automatic. Let's see if they fit in now. No. Annoyingly, there's about ½ an inch that doesn't quite fit. Since we've got our documents open, we might as well look at the typical finance options that this car would afford to you. So if we say take it on a 4-year PCP at 8,000 miles a year with a deposit of just over £3,400, the APR is currently 4.9% on this car. MG will give you a deposit allowance of £750. That works out at £239 a month, and the balloon payment on this car is quite a low figure. It's only £6,910.50, which I think that's very affordable indeed. One thing that I've noticed in all ZS's, including the electric one, the EV, is there's only one light in here. My friend Richard Jackson, who you might have seen on the channel with his ZS EV 1-year anniversary of him getting it video, he has put a separate light in the back because there isn't one. Also, you don't get tinted glass, as I've mentioned before. It's not necessarily a problem for most people, it's just something to bear in mind. Now, if we turn the car on again, and I'm looking at the instrument cluster ahead of me, we can cycle through different things. We can see that we've got all these different safety features like rear cross traffic alert, and we've got autonomous emergency braking, and adaptive cruise control and all sorts of things. But that does mean that sometimes we have to make sure that we go through lots of warnings, and that's quite annoying, and there are various bongs that go off too. And as you know, viewers, I don't like the bongs that new MGs make sometimes. This car's only done 47 miles, so it's very, very new. And there's not really much information about what it's currently getting in terms of miles per gallon, but there's all sorts of things that you can sort of play with in here, and it'll tell you the information that you need of your journey and everything like that. If you go to the setup here, you can look at even more different things. You can turn off some of the beeps and the bongs, and also if we go to the car, we can actually see here that we've got all these different things, lane change assist even, rear cross traffic alert. You can turn some of these off. First of all though, as I've said in the driving section, we go to the steering menu, which is driving and maintenance, and turn that into dynamic, which is by far my preference. There are other comfort and convenience options of course now, such as find my car in a crowded car park, where I put the lights on and the horn. You don't have to have that of course. Another thing to sort of bear in mind as well with this car is that this is just normal air conditioning. This isn't climate control of any description, and you do have to go into the heating and ventilation menu to operate certain functions, like the heated seats, which I'm going to put on now because it's cold. The visibility in this car is slightly better than the standing on Tivoli. Of course, I drive one of those virtually every day, so I'm very familiar with those. Automatic lights and wipers, of course, in this car to go with the nice full LED front lights. You do feel quite nice and high up, which does give you a better feeling of safety. Of course, you know, you've now got all these extra safety systems, and this car is heading for a 5-star Euro NCAP safety rating. It's all very promising and dare I say it, very appealing. In conclusion then, what do I think of this newly facelifted MG ZS 1 litre automatic? Well, really, this is the only choice I would make. I would not personally recommend the manual version. If you have the extra money to stump up to this 1 litre engine with the automatic transmission, I would definitely go for it. You do get a standard 7-year warranty, which is absolutely brilliant, as with all MGs, and this is a very strong competitor in its class. Just don't expect it to feel like the premium German opposition. Oh dear me, I'm terribly sorry. I must admit, we seem to have developed a certain attraction for each other. Thank you for watching this episode of Tweed Jacket Reviews. My name is Joseph Lloyd, and I find cars for people on a professional basis. To find out more, please visit my website or my Facebook page. Links are in the description below. Thank you.